And as we get ready for that, Nik Nanos joins us now to help break down some of the numbers. He's the founder and chief data scientist at Nanos Research. Nick, how are you?
Good, Roger. How you doing?
Good. And now that we're likely going to see an election, the polls have the Liberals and Conservatives neck and neck.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey,
Crazy.
Roger, have you broken out the election popcorn? Is there such a thing?
What would it be? What would you make with that? What would you put? Like butter? What would you put with it?
Oh, let's not even go down.
You're asking me to think on a Saturday morning, Nick. Let's talk numbers instead.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the key takeaway here is this is going to be a really important election that will be transfixing Canadians. The latest Nanos tracking basically has, for all intents and purposes, a dead heat, 35-34 between the federal Conservatives and the Liberals. The Conservatives have been down about 3 points in the last 4 weeks. The Liberals are up about 3 points. The NDP are back at 16%, the Bloc at 8%, Green Party at 4%. But the key takeaway here, Roger, is that when you're looking at 35-34, it's as close as it has been in a very, very long time, because it seems like not since last summer, the summer before, the Pierre Poilievre Conservatives really had a comfortable double-digit 10-plus advantage, depending on the day of the week, over the Liberals. So we're going to have a horse race. And you know what? I think that's good. Let's face it, if someone wants to be prime minister, they should fight for it. Doesn't matter what party they're part of.
Absolutely. And when they had that big lead, we all knew things can change in politics, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And, of course, the big driving factor here, Trump-U.S. relations.
Yeah, like I said before, the uninvited guest. Trump still transfixes Canadians as the top national issue of concern. More than 1 out of every 4, or 27% of Canadians think Trump and focus on the United States is their top concern. It's up 12 points in the last, in the last 4 weeks. Jobs in the economy still up there at around 17%. And healthcare rounds out the list at 8%, inflation at 6%, housing at 5%. But think of it this way, Roger: 27% for Trump in the U.S., 17% for jobs, 6% for inflation, 5% for housing. What we see is an overwhelming focus on economic issues, with Trump being, why don't we call Trump the economic lightning rod, where people's like, what's up with this and what is going to happen? And it probably speaks to some of the discussions over the past while with the premiers over, what can Canada do to prepare to be more resilient from an economic point of view, where are jobs going to come from? And the premiers working much more cooperatively than they have been in the past as a result of the Trump threat.
Which are some positives for the country. That's always a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? I think the good news is assuming that the election gets called tomorrow, we'll be able to hear from both Pierre Poilievre and Mark Carney about their competing vision for jobs, their vision for the future of Canada, and for Canada's place in the world. So, you know what? In that respect, couldn't happen at a better time, because those are the things that Canadians really want to hear about.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about the next generation of Canadians. What do people think? Will they have a higher standard of living, lower, the same as what we see now?
I'm not cheering you up, Roger. I just like to say that, it's pretty dismal. About 7 out of every 10 Canadians think that the next generation will have a lower standard of living. And if you look at that long-term trend line, we've been tracking this since 2012. It's the highest score for lower standard of living, or tied with the highest, since 2012. And if you happen to be younger, it's not 70% believing that the next generation will be lower. It jumps to 73%. So younger Canadians being even more pessimistic about the future speaks to the sense of urgency, Roger, right now, the threat that Trump represents, the worry about inflation and housing and where jobs are going to come from. And this election being a time for our elected officials and those that want to seek public office to talk about those big issues. I think this is going to be, we always say it's an important election, but I think every vote is going to count. Every vote will matter. And I think Canadians will feel that they'll be making a decision to guide the future direction of the country.
Absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see if it turns around the number of people who have stopped voting, and we'll get some more people back at the polling stations this time around.
Yeah, we'll have to watch the voter turnout. And you know what, Roger? We don't know who the voter turnout will favor, right? Like, many times, high voter turnout helps, like, challengers, right? Because people are angry. But I think Liberals are going to be motivated. I think Conservatives, those two party supporters, are going to be absolutely motivated to come out and vote. They represent the bulk of voters at this particular point in time, and they're going to fight it like block by block, street by street, city by city.
All right. Nick, thank you as always, sir.